And, so what inspired you to pursue your career path?
Well, I have about three career paths. uh, yeah. My first, let's talk about my first career path was that of a broadcaster, journalist, photojournalist. Um, I was inspired by TV anchors and announcers, news media. I was inspired by them at an early age, at about the young age of 7, 8 years old. I was really excited about how the news and information was brought to the people. Um, and I just saw myself being able to do that. I always saw myself in front of the TV um, as a youngster. So that was one motivating factor. And the more I admired them, the more I aspired to be like them. Now, my second career that morphed off that first career of journalism, which included a lot of writing, a lot of reading, a lot of information gathering. Um, so my second career was that of a federal investigator. And so as I was writing a lot of information about sports, about human interest stories, I found a greater career in public service. And as an investigator for the EEOC, the EEOC is the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission. Um, I wanted to I prayed about it and was blessed with an opportunity to be a public servant so that I could see the needs of the people being met. Of course, I was wrong in thinking that I could make everybody happy, but there is some reward in doing a good work even when everybody's not happy. And I've done that for 36 years, I think 36 years this year.
And that's really deep. And that's very inspiring. But the next question is, how many years of post-secondary education did you have to have for broadcasting and journalism?
Well, at the time I was coming up, getting a bachelor's degree would pretty much get you in a lot of places. Bachelor's degree, well, qualified you to be a sports. It got you in a lot of doors. A lot of doors that you'd have to without. I mean, there were some people working in the TV stations and even in the radio room who may not have had a college degree, but they were technically savvy. They were smart, knew how to, operate a camera, knew how to, um, run cable lines and power lines and those types of things that helps a production take off. But when it came to providing the information to the public, then you had to have shown some discipline in having a college degree, at least a bachelor's degree, uh, to enter the room, to be considered to be in the level of competitiveness with others coming in. Now, in the meantime, I've met quite a few people who've graduated from Northwestern University who've had master degrees. I've seen a lot of people who really flourished and grown in the TV industry who have law degrees, and it just those people have spent a lot of time, a lot of reading, a lot of investigative work, able to break down, dissect, be competent and articulate about the subject matter they're called on to cover. So, with that being said, having additional degrees would have definitely given me a leg up in broadcasting. People who've gone to the military and who have had that discipline in military, working in communications, they've got a little bit more advantage than the average person who's coming out of college. Because when you go into the military, you get thrust into firsthand work, and you're expected to do a quality job, a good job. So you tack on to that some education, a bachelor's degree, and now you've got some competition on your hands. You tack on to that, he goes gets a master's, then it becomes more and more hard for you to get that opportunity that 35 years ago would have been available. Now you got women, as I was told 34, 35 years ago by a television broadcaster. He said women are coming into the industry, and not only are they getting bachelors, they're getting masters, and they may be getting law degrees. They're getting some internship before they get their bachelors, so they're already getting some experience before they ever get the degree. So there are opportunities for you to get ahead of the game in that field of journalism. That is, get into a TV station or a radio station and get some internship going. Start a relationship. Learn the tricks of the trade, the things that you learn in college. They may be so far advanced when you get actually into the studio. You may apply some of the things you learned in college in the studio, but the only way you can learn what's in the studio is get in the studio. So I was thankful that I drove up to a TV station and I said, "Hey, here I am. You don't know me, I don't know you. I know you from watching you, and I know the station. That's why I'm here. But I would like to ask for an opportunity to intern. I want to be in the atmosphere. I want to learn the ropes. I want to pull some cord if I have to. I want to sweep the floor if I have to. I just want to be in the house. If I could just be in the house, I'll figure the rest of it out." And there came my opportunities. I didn't, although I dreamed big, I was also realistic that you got to start somewhere. And for me, I might have started at an old small radio station in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, or in Pine Bluff, or whoever would give me an opportunity to get in the door, to evaluate what's going on. And then, not only that, and then to be able to just talk about it, be able to talk about it, open, "Hey, hello, my name is," and let's talk about it. Because once you get in the door, those people, they're going to want to talk. So you got to be full of some information. You got to go in there knowing a little something. Don't go in. I'm going in with open ears, listening. I'm going in listening. I'm going in receptive to what they got to say. I'm a sponge. I'm taking in all the information, and I'll ask some questions. I don't ask. I learn just by listening. And I'll ask a few questions, and I'll learn and listen. Ask a few questions, learn and listen. That's how I did it. Amazingly, people don't do it like that anymore. They don't garner that kind of confidence. I don't know, but that's the way I did. I pulled up on 2 TV stations just like that in Memphis, Tennessee. And one of them, they said, "Well, we don't have anything in front of the camera right now, but that we got a part-time position open as a camera operator." Well, I got a college degree, but I also had a full-time job by now. And I will operate the cameras for you. This is my first good opportunity to work a camera was at a TV station on real time news. That's my first experience. I learned that on the go. I learned that on the go. That's my uh, first full time camera operating. I operated a handheld in college. We had a handheld, but we didn't have a truck. That's what they call a camera on a tripod with wheels. They call it a truck. And yeah, I didn't have it. I had to learn that on the job and learn it quick because we were going on TV and they didn't need me messing up.
I heard you mention Northwestern earlier. Would you recommend that as a top college to go to for like broadcasting and journalism?
Well, when you look at the national circuit, there are a number of people who went to Northwestern and who were in, Chanel Jones, who's on NBC. That's just first name come up. I think I went down and listed about 5 or 6 folks who I can't call them all out by name right now, but at some point in time, I figured 5 or 6 folks who had gone to Northwestern, primetime school. You got to get in there with primetime ACT and a primetime SAT. You're gonna have to be in the top 10% of probably your high school class to be even considered. But you got a whole ton of schools. I said a ton of them. Arkansas State in Jonesboro is a good school to go to. They got a TV station up there, Channel 8, KAIT in Jonesboro. But not only do they have a TV station in Jonesboro, they also have broadcasting studies at Arkansas State proper. But the transition is I get a degree at Arkansas State. I can flow right on into an opportunity at KAIT. And then from there, my career evolves and grows, and people have left there and grown to other bigger markets. Then um, you've got people go to Fayetteville, Central Arkansas. No, Washita Baptist University I'm sorry, that's my alma mater. Washita Baptist University has a tremendous broadcasting discipline, and they have podcasts. They go and broadcast their own games on the road, football and basketball games, and they have done way wished I had all of that, what they've got now would have further advanced my career. When they come out of Washita, they can go get a job with Channel 4, Channel 7, Fox 16. They've got a few options. um, Henderson State has a broadcasting department, and they've got two radio. They got a radio station, KVRC, in Arkadelphia. And if you're a sports writer, you've got Sifton Herald. Of course, a lot of the newspapers have gone digital now. So when we talk about the Sifton Herald, you're a digital writer. But you get those opportunities. Then for me, I've had the camera work. I've had the print journalism where I can write, which I'm working on now, getting out there and covering some football games, covering some basketball games, send those stories into the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. They, in turn, cut me a check to add to their digital footprint, to their digital newspaper. I'll do that on the side. So my career in journalism didn't necessarily end. At one point, it got postponed. At another point, it just got, you know, just extended until my later life where I can really put time in. But, another part of that is being a public address announcer. So I announce basketball and football and volleyball, baseball game, track and field meets. I'm a public address announcer. I'm expecting to expand my career in public address announcing even today at 59, almost 60. Um, that's something that I can use if I keep working my craft. I can use until I can't use it no more. So, yeah, just one degree and one degree and one central studies have just given me a multitude of opportunities that is still paying. You know, do you have to? Would you have to have a master's degree if you decide to go into uh, journalism, TV, radio? Uh, you probably could get away with not having one if you're able to uh, freelance or be an intern. Intern means you're going to be in a non-paid position to help further the role of the broadcast, whatever that is. Um, if you turn out to be pretty good, they'll probably offer you some money to be that on a part-time or full-time basis. Well, you take that opportunity. If you're working out to be a good hand, you take that opportunity and you keep going to school until you get your degree, because you never want to leave the degree out there, because if you don't have a degree, the folks cut the conversation. So at least if I got a degree, we can continue the conversation. I got a degree. I've got a 3 years experience on top of my degree. You can flow in. You got just as much competition as the man who went to the military and got some training in journalism and communication, or as the person who went and got a master's degree. You can pretty much hold a conversation. It's just different ways you got to do it, and you got to show yourself great when you get there. If all I got is a bachelor's degree, I got to be super great, because I know this person with a master's degree is going to give me more competition.
What would you say is the hardest part of your career?
Now, which career? I've given you two
Oh,
careers. Which
broadcasting.
broadcasting? Well, I think, being honest with you, one of the hardest parts would be I've got a vocabulary that goes beyond and, but, he, and she. But to be able to dial them up, to call them up immediately, um, being real quick with it. I need to read. I read a lot, but I need to read more. I need to read more on the stories I want to report, and I need to replicate that. You don't have to create anything new. That was the hardest thing in college, thinking that I want to be a journalist. You got to write your stuff if you're in front of the TV, or if you're behind the TV. Somebody got to write the content, okay? And so, in order to write the content, you got to know what you're writing. So, if you're gonna know what you're writing, then you got to not only know what you're writing, you got to know how to write it, okay? So, if I know how to write it, then the question is going to be, do I write it my way, or do I create a new way, or do I duplicate what's already been written? Well, everything that's been written has already been written. Now, you might want to put your own twist to it, but there's no, I think I've found to have success, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just got to know how the wheel was spinning in the first place, and then add your own little color to the wheel. Read, 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 write, 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 write. Don't be afraid of reading, or don't be afraid of writing. Because the more you read, the larger your vocabulary. Get in the dictionary, understand what the words mean, know how to properly use the word in a subject verb agreement, know when it's plural and when it's singular, know where the punctuations belong, know where the emphasis in the sentence or in the conversation is. Read, 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 write, write, write. The more you read, the more you write, the better you become. And when your stuff is intelligible, that's when you get a lot more engagements. You get a lot more engagements. So you get intelligible because you're reading a lot, you're writing a lot, you're daring yourself to learn new words and then practice those new words in proper context in a sentence. Um, yeah, some people really impress me. I'm really impressed by people who read a lot and can dial up a word and use it. I mean, it really invigorates me to hear people properly use words. Words are powerful. You've heard that before. Words are powerful. How you use them is important because if you misuse a word, it can really derail you. So you say, what is the biggest struggle? That would be in that venue in that space. That would be the biggest struggle. How to This morning I was doing a recording at my church, and by the way, I don't know if you're attending a specific church. If you're not, I understand that our church, Acts Church, is very close to you. We have a television broadcast community, and it's an opportunity to come work cameras, learn how to work the cameras. We have a live broadcast. We live stream, and we got a studio. And so, if you were a member of our church, then we would have you exposed to that, and gives people an opportunity to grow. And then you get this inexpensive way of getting experience. Then you could go in somewhere else bigger and be ahead of the game. But listening, reading, you got to have great listening skills because you're getting directions from 100 different places, and you got to do it all with less than 3 seconds. Because if it's more than 3 seconds, it's already old, and it really can cause a lot of frustration. So you got to be able to respond in less than 3 seconds, preferably in 1.52 seconds. You got to be able to give the deliverables when they're called upon, and not, when I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to wait, because everything in broadcasting is time efficient. If we need a 1 minute commercial, I sometimes write commercials. I sometimes do that. I think I'm pretty good when I'm not thinking about it. It's when I sit down and start thinking about doing a commercial, then I really get, I go back to reading and writing a lot. You'll get tongue tied because you haven't done it enough. You got to keep reading to where you can flow with these words, and you can throw a commercial together at any time. So writing commercials is important. So this morning, they said, okay, we want to do announcements. We want to roll that in front of the camera. We're going to broadcast it live to the sanctuary. And I did a page and a half of notes. And I had that timed out to about 5 minutes. Well, I tried to slow it down even because I wanted to flow right into service. And what happened was, when I finished, there were 2 minutes left between me finishing and service starting. Or that's what the director told me. So if there were 2 minutes left, I need to slow my pace. I need to probably add a little bit more content. Yeah, I know about how many words is going to take up how many minutes. I've done it enough. I can tell you, if I got a page and a half, if I had to read this is going to take about 5.5 minutes or 6 minutes. If I have a half a page, that's going to take 2.5 minutes. If I got a paragraph, I can stretch that to 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you tell me to give you a 30-second commercial, I can give it to you within 2 seconds either side of 30. 28 or 32, I'm pretty sharp on that. So those are little tricks of the trade you learn, because you get in the room and you don't have to reinvent everything. You just need to know how. Count your pace, count your words, put it together, and you practice.
I appreciate that advice because I'm not huge on reading. I've never really been like that, but I've gotten into it more, and I'm seeing that it has been helpful to just read more. And
Well, you were kind of blurry on that. Can you restate that? Restate what you said.
I was just saying that the advice you was giving me about reading more, I appreciate that because the past, well, this year I've gotten into reading more since this past summer, but I never really been that big into it because I didn't think it was that important. But now I realize how important it is
Mm-hmm.
because it showed me on my ACT a bit, reading some more. this helped me in some of my classes when it comes to answering questions. So I do see how important reading is now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, here are opportunities. I may have even told you about uh, announcing. Well, what is public address announcer? Public address announcer is not on the TV giving the news most of the time. Most of the time, the news people will be a public address announcer. You'll find them over at UALR. Guy used to be on the news. He's over there announcing women's basketball games. But, sometimes at these colleges, there's an opportunity to be a public address announcer. And you got to know how to get paid doing that. How do I get paid to be a public address announcer? Well, go to your local college. If you get into a Philander Smith College or an Arkansas Baptist College, either one of those would be, good locally. I don't know, where you are with all your academics or what your aspirations are, where you want to go, but we want to put you in a winning situation. We want to put you in a situation where, you can have a multitude of opportunities to do what you want to do. And if you're going to do that, then I'd say, man, ain't nobody doing this. Go to Arkansas Baptist College, or go to Philander Smith College, and you'll get opportunities to do you and grow in doing you. And if you're at Philander Smith, and I don't work there per se yet, I mean, that's where I do my announcing. But I'm in the school enough to where if you're over there at Philander Smith, I'm going to help you win. I'm going to help you do what you want to do. I'm going to help you grow however you want to grow. And hopefully help you figure out how to do what you do and get compensated for doing what you do. So read, because everybody's looking for somebody to do a presentation. Can you? Oh, because everybody doesn't put time into doing what we're talking about. They don't put time into reading and reciting stuff. I read stuff on TV all the time. Closing credits on a TV show, I read them. Opening introductions on who's going to be on the show, I read them. I read everybody's name. I read the long, difficult names. I read the easy names. I read them out loud. I repeat what I hear at football games. There's a holding foul on number 25, John Edwards. That's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. I got to do that repeatedly. I'm not refereeing, but I just do it repeatedly because I love it. And then when the opportunity comes for me to put a football official's uniform on and go out and shine in front of the crowd in middle field, holding number 25 offense, that's a 10-yard penalty, results of the play, second down. And that's what I do. Wow, you sound so smooth at it. Man, I've been doing this in my living room for 30 years. Yeah, I mean, I ought to be able to do it without being shaky because I do it. Salute to service. USAA. I'm looking at the TV now and I'm just reading what I see. And I read all the time. I try to read it fast. I try to read it slow. I try to read the tough ones and the easy ones. That's what I do. You fall in love with that, man, you could get you a craft that, not too many people, particularly too many people look like you and me are doing. Okay. Oh, my wife is calling. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Stay there. Okay, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So reading. Yeah. So yeah, are you in you and your family, are y'all attending a church in the neighborhood?
Not right now, but we're trying to get back into church.
Okay. Well, Acts is a great place to be, and especially for you with these opportunities. I mean, I'm sure Christian don't talk about them very much because that's not her focus with her ministry. But are you still okay? We're still there. Put my video on. Okay, here I am. But anywho, with that being said, those are opportunities that are available for you. Um, let's see. What high schools are you're near North Little Rock High School? What school do you attend, by the way? I didn't ask you that.
North Little Rock.
You attend North Little Rock.
Yes, sir.
My volume went down somewhere. Um, y'all should have a little. What kind of broadcasting? Y'all got a little something over there. Um, but go. There's this man who announces basketball games at North Little Rock High. Oh, what's his name? Got him in my phone. I'm not going to interrupt our call, but yeah, he's an old white dude. But yeah, you let go if you get a chance to go to a ball game. Let him know what you're trying to do, and that you talk to me, and you can sit there and monitor him. Just sit there beside him and monitor him, see what he does and how he does it, and that would just be awesome if you had a chance to do that. I'm trying to figure out what happened to my sound.
My next question is, how
Wait a
is your
minute. Let me see if I can get my sound back right the way it's supposed to be. Hold on just a second. All right, go ahead.
my next question is, how did when you were broadcasting, how did you balance that with your wife?
With my life,
Yes.
well, um, broadcasting has to be your life, man. You figure out the rest. You put the rest of your life around broadcasting, because you may not have a weekend for. When I was in sports, mostly sports happen on the weekends. They didn't happen during the week. Now they have sports every day of the week, but back when I was doing it, sports was what, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, that my weekends were gone, so I had to figure it out. Definitely every Friday and Saturday night and Sunday afternoon till about 7 o'clock. That was my weekend. Uh, being in broadcasting is almost like the medical field, man. You are on call at all times, depending on what's going on. Storm, emergency, earthquake, a whole lot of things that happen to make you have to press pause on life and go take care of this. Or you may be working when I was working TV and did a telethon once. Well, if the telethon ran long, I ran long. I had to do whatever the demands call for.
Would you say it's a movie that you enjoyed that relates to broadcasting?
I'm sorry, I don't know, but you said, is it a what?
Is there like a favorite movie you have that relates to broadcasting?
A movie that relates to broadcasting?
Yes, sir.
A movie. Give me a second. A movie that I can relate to as it pertains to a career in broadcasting. Well, you could say an NFL football game every every Sunday about 3 times a day every Sunday. Those are movies. Those are recordings. Those are stories being told. And yeah, I like trying to tell those stories. I imagine kind of like you and your guys when I listen to one of your podcasts. Um, you want to be able to tell that story, you know? That's a story I can tell that story better than anybody. Well, how are you going to dress it up? What is it going to look like? Who were the players involved? What was the outcome? You know, those are some of the things you want to talk about. Talking about a movie that inspires you. Yeah, you get a chance to, in the confines of your own home, be your own producer, director, writer. You can be that person. Um, but just a movie. There's a lot of sitcoms, but not a movie that reminds me of why I would want to get in.
What career fields did you consider before going into broadcasting?
Psychological counseling. Yeah, psychology.
And was it a reason that you didn't end up doing psychology?
Well, after I had to train a rat how to dance and skip and follow a maze, I figured much that was about the end of that. I didn't want any more training. Training strange animals or creatures, you know, and that was pretty much the end of it. After I successfully got my rat to do what it had to do, then I changed. I didn't change careers. I just honed in on what I wanted to do the most that made me the happiest. That's what I did.
What is the pay range for broadcast?
Well, I don't know what the beginning pay is now. The minimum wage went up. Minimum salaries went up from when I got in. It should be, starting out around 45 to 50, depends on the market. I mean, if you start broadcasting in Horatio, Arkansas, you're probably gonna get 28 to 31,000. But if you start broadcasting in the broadcast business in Little Rock, then you're probably going to start out between 38 and 50,000. So it's all dictated on where you are, the cost of living where you are, the size of the market, the size of the money. The money comes from, for the most part, the money comes from all your ad sales, sponsorships out there in the public. So you hear all these commercials being played and all that. Well, that's important. The more commercials are run locally and nationally, then the bigger the market, more money they have to spend on salaries.
Uh, Next question is, when you were broadcasting, did you have to deal with like people being rude or like this, like when you see them in public or anything like that?
Did I have to deal with people who were rude?
Yes.
That's in every well, definitely in broadcasting. There are a lot of personalities and egos. So yeah, don't be surprised. You got some arrogant folks. Arrogant. You got to come with the confidence because if you don't come with it, it'll shine on you. So you got to be able to clap back, not in a negative way, but at least to represent yourself. Okay, you got to be able to stand your ground because there are some people in the business who are very confident, and they're not always nice, and they're pretty much it's high energy. People want things done with excellence, even though they may not be excellent. They don't want to be on the bad end of something that's not very good. So you got to put your ego aside and go in there with confidence and provide the service they're looking for, and not only provide it, but do exceedingly well at it. You got to strive for excellence. Not that you ever get it, but you might catch lightning in a bottle once or twice, and that would be great for you.
My final question is, who are a few people that are your biggest influencers or supporters that led you to sports broadcasting?
Oh, local or national? People I knew were people like you wouldn't know because they were all in local TV. But Les Smith was a sports uh, broadcaster in Memphis. There was a Johnny Dark. There was Pam Crittenden. There was Jerry Tate. I mean, a lot of local folks. Stan Stan Smith. I forgot Stan's last name. There are a lot, and a few of those I mentioned are African Americans who I saw as a youngster. They were out there doing their thing, broadcasting, and I got a chance to meet them and know them as I entered into college and out of college, and established a relationship with them. Claudia Barr. So there were a few people who were influential in me. And that's what I ought to do with Kristen one day. I went to on a whim in high school. I was about a junior in high school. And I went to a high school over in Memphis one Saturday to do a competition, sports competition. And at this time I went, I wasn't really into it like I became, but I went and on like last minute notice, got over there, didn't do well, but not doing well didn't discourage me from pursuing it. It just gave me an idea of what I need to do to be more competitive so that I can do it. So that's what really Jim Jaggers was over there that day at Hillcrest High School. And he gave me some encouraging words, and that's what I left with. That's what I left with. And wow, what an amazing opportunity is to go over and do that. I may, this is January, February. I want to see if I can ask Christian. I'd like to see how y'all do. I'd like to see if we could do that. I don't know how many other people in the program who would, be who are interested or willing to want to do that. But I'd like to do that. That's what got me excited. Go over there and read some print, and get the microphone, put a coat and tie on, turn the camera on, and let's see how it goes.
Well, that's all the questions I have, Mr. Todd. Thank you for doing this. It was really insightful, and I enjoyed it.
All right then. Well, listen, it's been thank you for reaching out, and whatever I can do to help you along the way. Words of encouragement, directions, I'll do what I can and try to see somebody else grow in the craft. It's a craft. It's not a game. It's something you have to work on. It's something that you have to practice. You have to look at it from multiple angles. You have to look at it not just where you are, but where you want to be. You got to see yourself where you want to be. And then beyond seeing yourself where you want to be, you got to practice it. And you got to practice at all times. And the more you practice, the better you get.